for being here to share this moment with us. I think what is more and more important is that as the parties that have the privilege of being part of coalitions, what is our contribution in stabilizing coalitions in South Africa? And I think the work that we do in government as individuals that have been given the assignment to be office bearers is just not enough. If the parties that deploy us, that support us on a daily basis, do not play their part as well in ensuring that coalitions in South Africa are stable, I don't think we can get far. So thank you, Mr. President, for leading us as ActionSA in clarifying our offer to South Africa, that when you have us in coalition, what kind of a party are we? And we do appreciate the focus on service delivery, Mr. President, that residents of Tshwane, I have heard them many times. They are so disinterested in slogans and promises. They just want you to do it. And whether it's perfect, whether it's not perfect, they just want you to do it. And I think the energy that we've been deploying with my colleagues in the MECO, together with our colleagues in the legislature in the City of Tshwane, has really been about, colleagues, let's wake up each and every day, do something in communities and take it from there. But in the spirit of today, we're talking about accountability and transparency in governance. I think what is, as I was preparing for today, Mr. President, there's an African saying that cracks me up, but I take it seriously. It goes, when you are peeling ground nuts for a blind man, you must keep whistling so that he knows you are not eating. So this African saying always gets me, it gets me, because there's a lesson of accountability there. If you are given a task to do something, you must always show that you are doing exactly what you are supposed to be doing. And this tracker is going to take us far. But in terms of where we come from is the Tshwane Coalition, and I think the first question that I received yesterday when the media alert went out, it was, is the coalition collapsing? No, the coalition is not collapsing. I think we can say that categorically. And there's a lot that we have been doing as the coalition partners to say the residents of Tshwane have suffered enough. They can't continue to suffer under our leadership, and therefore, in case and when we have disagreements, which we had, and we have to find ways to resolve those. But I think for us as the coalition, we have inherited a backlog in service delivery. That is not because of what I say, but what the residents have to live within their communities. And we can talk to the backlogs in terms of the institution itself. What is it that this institution called the Government of Tshwane was supposed to do and what was not happening? Mr. President reflected a lot on the issues of our financial management as the city. The city did not have a funded budget for 3 financial years. It makes sense to accountants when you put it that way, but to residents, how do we explain is that there were plans, service delivery plans that could not be funded because there was just no money. And that backlog has caught up with us because now we have to deal with very angry residents who are paying for services, but they are not getting return on their investment. The financial management of the city, or rather mismanagement of the city, led to a ballooning creditors book. We know the case about Eskom, where the debt ballooned from 1.2 billion to over 5 billion in a space of 2 to 3 years. And there was a refusal to deal with this because if we could get a deal with Eskom, that means that option was always available, but it was not taken up. We had a ballooning debtors book where the residents of Tshwane stopped paying for services. And for 2 reasons. One, COVID has hit us all, and there are those households that have suffered economically. But there's a protest that the residents staged and said, if you're not going to give us the services that we deserve, we're not going to give you our money. And so we had to deal with the debtors book as well. And also for us, the security of our revenue as the city, which then guarantees the delivery of services to the people, was severely compromised because of that. This financial mismanagement, you would see it on the creditors' rating, where the City of Tshwane, even now, we are working on ensuring that we are able to borrow, so we are able to fund our capital budget. We could not borrow as this government for a couple of years because no lender will trust us with their monies if we can't even manage our own finances. For the first time in 2022-2023 financial year, this city received an adverse finding. It has never happened before. And after that, then two subsequent qualified audits. And that has really compromised the ability of this institution to be considered a trustworthy partner. And therefore, I just want to amplify what Mr. Mashaba has said, because if the institution is not healthy, you won't be able to deliver on your constitutional obligation. What it meant for the residents of Tshwane is that the service delivery deteriorated across the water leaks that often ran for weeks without any response, the potholes, the street lights that are dark because the municipality could not make an investment on street lights for 4 years. Hence, the city is still as dark as it is. The informal settlements where people were just left to a squalor in informal settlements, there's informal settlements that ballooned from 220 informal settlements to over 500 informal settlements in a space of 2 years, ballooned to over 500 informal settlements in a space of 2 years during COVID. And the residents became angry, and justifiable so. And they continue to be angry because what I appreciate about the residents of Tshwane, they know their rights. And I truly appreciate about them. But also one that has really bothered me is then the businesses and the community organizations having seen a necessity for them to continue or to take over the role of municipality in providing basic services to themselves, which is something that any government should never allow, not if those businesses and those community members are paying rates and taxes. So all of this was just the background, and so we entered this government and we were not under illusion in terms of what is it that we were entering, but we had to have a very strong resolve in terms of what is it that we're going to prioritize. And it was not easy. I remember we were baptized with a crisis in November, a water crisis, and I'm grateful that happened because we matured very quickly as a team, where you realize that the crisis is bigger than yourself as an individual, that you need each other, but also you need to make sober decisions to overcome crisis. For a couple of months, our substations were engulfed by fires, and we could not explain what it is, and there was a temptation to look for conspiracy theories until we said, let's look closer to home, have conspiracy theories, and to home. Have we been repairing our substations the way we were supposed to before we start blaming other people? We started responding to that. And so all of those crises, we then had to respond to them as a coalition. And Mr. President, I can never underestimate the role of a strong coalition. Because if as coalition partners you start pulling in different directions, then you're not going to be able to make the strategic decisions and the unified decisions that you need to make, especially when you are in crisis. So we truly appreciate this Tracker National Chair, that as a party that is ActionSA, in an era where residents and citizens don't trust coalitions, or there's so much that is characterized in terms of coalitions being dysfunctional, being chaotic, as a party, what is our offering? Because it looks like coalitions are not going to go anywhere. What is it that we as ActionSA, we can contribute positively to ensure that the coalitions that we are part of are stable, and perhaps learn some lessons to other coalitions as well. So I'm very pleased that in the City of Tshwane, we will then, through our party, we will have this tracker that will look at what the government is supposed to be doing anyway, supposed to do every day, but have a structured way, in a way that can be easily reported to residents. But also we have made some progress, and we made a progress this coalition that of the priority progress that we want, one of those must be engagement with the residents of Tshwane. That if we leave them behind, we will be doing this for ourselves and not for them. So there is a concerted effort that of the 6 priorities that we've identified in the recently approved IDP and budget, one of those priorities is improved customer experience. Now, we look at residents as our customers. There's different ways in which you offer the service to your customers. And one of them is that they must talk to us. We must be accessible to residents. Whether it's me sitting up for an hour before I go to bed and responding to Twitter things and escalating service delivery, whether it's through our WhatsApp channels that we have launched, whether it's through the customer care centers that we are modifying so that it's easier for our residents to interact with in our customer care centers, whether it is about how just the staff and the officials of the city interact with our residents. We then said we want to continue this. Now, we have made progress in terms of the priorities that we've asked for as a last point. So we now have, and we've communicated this over time, as the City of Tshwane, and I think this should be assurance to residents, for the first time we do have a funded budget. But that funded budget is not supposed to only make us look good on media articles. It must start filtering into communities. What do we do with the funded budget? It must serve the communities. But we don't have a lot of money. So we started making strategic decisions. One is that of building internal capacity. We said instead of appointing Nasiphi Pty Ltd, can't we go approach an MOE, buy the equipment and give it to our officials? And we've taken that decision. We have taken a decision where we had, during an era where theft and vandalism is so rife in the city, we have over 1,200 security guards that were employed by the city and left without training, without PPE, and without benefits. And we've taken a decision to say, let's do what we promise people when we insource them, that is to restore their dignity. And we took a report to the last council meeting where we started phasing in the benefits, and the training of these security guards have started. And this is what we are doing to ensure that we don't only reduce the losses through theft and vandalism, but we are able to tap into our officials to do the work and to do less with the private sector when we don't need them to do the work for us. We have reduced the ESCOM debt by over 1.2 billion now. We're still on track. Because there's a court order that we are following there, so we're still on track. Rand Water, we are on track in terms of, we are one of the municipalities that even when we have our IGR meetings, they will start by saying Tshwane is not owing ESCOM, it's not owing Rand Water and Mahalis. And I think that's important because the mandate of a municipality, first and foremost, we must be able to give residents water and electricity. We have ramped up on our revenue collection. We communicated that we have raised over 99% of the projected revenue for the financial year. And those are the initiatives that we say, if we get this right, if we get our finances in order, if we continue to engage our residents, if we can share the plans that we have to grow the economy of this city, if we keep cleaning our city and make it safe, we will be able to give the residents the basics that they are looking for. Every Friday morning, Mr. President, without fail at 7:30, we summon the MECO, we summon the senior management of the city, where we really get into the details. And the question in those service delivery room, which lasts for 90 minutes, is, are we delivering on the mandate that the Constitution and the residents of the city have given to us? And we believe that with all those interventions, together with the approved plans that were approved by council, that we will be able to take this city forward. But what is important is that accountability is not one way. It's not government saying, this is what I want to do, I'm doing it. Residents of this city must be engaged. We must see them in public meetings. We must see them taking advantage of the platforms that are available to them so that they can get quality service delivery. In my language, they say, so if you are quiet, you're likely to be dead somewhere there. So we don't want that for our residents. So thank you so much for the opportunity.